So my name is Alexandra Vladimirov, or I'm known also as Alex, and I am a professional dancer, but also specialise in Latin and ballroom, but also been trained in jazz, commercial, heels, all of the styles. Yes, as everybody else.
Welcome to Studio Sessions, a video series for creative performers. Each week we go behind the scenes on the shoots and sit down with guests to discuss their careers, the creative industry, and share the lessons they've learned along the way. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
How's your day been today?
Oh, amazing. I feel like this has been one of the best shoots I've ever been a part of, if not the best.
So going then to you starting dancing, have you done it since like a young age?
Yeah, so I started when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I first started in ballet and jazz, and commercial styles sort of came a little bit later. And then actually my mum was like a massive fan of, you know, the little ballroom dance competitions, and she just wanted me to have, like, to put like a little bow in her daughter, and I was like, okay, I'll try, but I don't want to dance with boys. And she's like, no, we'll put you on and we'll make you, let's see if you like it. So she put me in a class, and I just went once a week to these like little Latin classes dancing with.
And did you enjoy it at the start?
Yes, I fell in love with it straight away because the precision that you need, it kind of reminds me a lot of ballet, because a lot of people who do that Latin and ballroom background style, they have so much technique behind them. Like, I feel like now that I work, there's a lot of all-rounded dancers, but you don't really get a lot of people that would do Latin because it's such a specific style. So I sort of did that up until the age of 12. I did all styles, and then at 12 I kind of had to make a decision because I wanted to take it a bit more professionally and compete to the highest level of my ability. So I ended up choosing just the Latin and ballroom route. And I did that up until I was about 16, 17. And I stopped competing at that point after.
What was it that made you stop competing?
I got offered a job.
Oh, sick.
So I actually was scouted. So I don't know if you've ever watched Strictly Ballroom or sort of any of those Latin competitions, but it's pretty crazy. You have, you know, all these different dancers on the floor, and they all got their numbers on them. And so I was Australian champion at the time. I'm from Australia, if you haven't been able to tell you from my accent. And I was Aussie champion, so it was all going very well. But I kind of knew that I wanted to do dancing after high school as well, but I didn't really know in what capacity. Like, I wasn't sure. I wanted to go uni as well, so I didn't know I was going to take it on professionally. I didn't really understand at the time that you could make money off of dance. And then, I got scouted at this competition, and I just got a message on Facebook, and this company called Burn the Floor reached out to me, and they said, would you like to go on a cruise ship? So that was my very, very first job. And it was amazing. Like, I always say to every single full-timer or people, because in Australia we do full-time, it's called college here. I say to them, if you're going to do a cruise ship, do it early on in your career, because it sets you up and it helps you to learn all of the skills and tools you need to understand how to perform, how to be on stage without the pressure of theatre, you know.
So I feel like a lot of people that I speak to here, especially when they're kind of coming out of college, are really torn between, do they take a cruise or do they not, because will it take them out of the industry?
Yeah, so it's a good question, but I think yes, do it once. Do it once in your life. Like, I did 2 cruises back to back, and so all up it was about a year, because it was 6 months and 6 months. But and then I knew I was kind of done at 19. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I mean, you're still 19. You're still so young. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you come out of college at 19, 20, 18, whatever age you are, and then doing even 6 months, it will give you so much life experience outside of even just the dancing aspect. Plus, you get to perform on stage every single night. Like, it is something that's so valuable that's going to help you then in your auditions. And nothing changes in 6 months. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think people always freak out.
Yeah, they think too much into it and think that if I come away from it for 6 months, the whole world's going to forget about me and I'm going to have to start from scratch.
No, absolutely not. And you can stay relevant, especially now with social media. It is the best tool, especially, I mean, it is like our resume in a sense, you know, and I think it's something that people really need to use more if they want to build a profile as well, and not be scared to share.
So going back to being Aussie champion. Yeah. What does it take to be the best?
Ooh, good question. A lot of determination and sacrifice. Yeah. I had many days where I didn't, go to the parties and didn't go out with friends because I would be practicing after finishing homework for like 3-4 hours a day. I'm going back really far now, in my high school days, but that was definitely what needed to be done. And you always can be better. And I think that's something we spoke about today as well. Like, you're never fully happy with your performance, with your product. But I think that's also the beauty of our art form.
Yeah, there's no limit.
There's no limit. And that's so magical. And like, as you grow and you learn, you just find new ways to develop your art and your craft. And I think that's the key, is to never stop learning and never think that that's enough.
Yeah, I feel like learning to love to learn is like one of the most powerful things you can do.
100%. Someone told me once, if you stop learning, you basically die.
You stop. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, life, that's what life is about. Life is all about educating yourself, trying new things, and not being afraid to try new things. I found that that is one of the most important things, to be versatile in this industry.
And how do you kind of get through that fear of trying new things?
It's definitely challenging, because for me, like I said, I ended up doing like just Latin and ballroom for 5 years. So then to go back, because after I did the cruise ships, I was like, right, I want to be a professional dancer in every style. Like, I didn't just want to be classified as a Latin dancer. Now I've kind of come around to being like, okay, that's like my specialty, but I can also do everything else. And that is what I always wanted. But it definitely was scary at the beginning, because I kind of had to start again a little bit. Obviously you have the foundations of movement, but it definitely is scary to go to a class where you think you're a good dancer, but then you do a style that's maybe not so comfortable for you. Yeah,
because I can imagine something that's more kind of commercial based, less rigid. Like, how do you kind of adapt to those different kind of styles?
Yeah, it just takes time to train. Like, after the cruise ships, I just went and did a few courses, and we had like 3-month courses in Australia, sort of, so you don't do college as such. Like, I never did college. And people ask me as well all the time, like, do you think it's necessary to do college or full-time? And I think it just depends on the person. Like, I didn't need it, but I also trained a lot.
Yeah. I suppose if you've got structure in your own life, if you can structure your own time,
exactly,
then I suppose maybe not. If you know you struggle with structure, then maybe giving someone else the permission to kind of tell you what to do.
100%. And you just got to throw yourself in it. Like, I went full 180. I basically stopped. Like, I still did a little bit of like my Latin stuff, but I did a lot of jazz, a lot of commercial every single day, because that's just what I wanted to do at the time, and still now that's been amazing, because now I've done so many different kinds of jobs, and I'm not just bound to one specific niche. And I think that is the most important thing, is to be, if you want to work, you just have to be versatile, because you
just have to be.
You just have to be.
So moving on to the first look from today, what was that and what made you bring that?
So the first look today was the jeans, the Jada jeans with the cool belts on them, and we did sort of a double whammy in that one.
Yeah.
The jeans, and I had the plain white top, and lots of sort of gold accessories and jewelry, and also then we changed that to the belt. The white, I just wanted it for the classic sort of denim look.
Yeah, I feel like this was a really nice example of how, and we said it at the time during the shoot, where we had two looks that were basically the same, but just one slight adjustment to it gave it two completely different personalities.
100%.
And I feel like that's a really, like, when you kind of see this back, it's like a really good way to kind of work out, okay, well, what do you want to give from this? Like, if you want to kind of bring, if you're having a photo shoot and talk to the photographer and say, this is the kind of vibe I want from it. Because I feel like it was really nice to kind of have two very different vibes from almost the same look.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I remember thinking, I want a classic look, but I love there's, when you have something that you really love about the outfit, like I love the belts. I just thought another belt would be such a cool look. And I mean, you're so amazing with just being like, just chuck it on and see, we can do both. So that was great. And, it's always important to have a good basic denim look, I think, in your portfolio. It's really important. Babe, my body, that's not actually my body though, like, I don't know, that's the oil.
Holy, look at you.
It's very cool. These are very cool.
Shots I've ever seen of you, wow.
You're so good! And your lighting was absolutely stunning for that as well. Like just glowy skin, you know.
So kind of talking about portfolio there, what's your kind of advice when it comes to putting together a portfolio based on your experience?
Yeah, it definitely takes time to build a nice one because, you know, especially people coming out of college or younger kids, like it is money that you have to invest into yourself, but that is also something that you're going to appreciate and thank yourself for later because when you do shoots, you need to be very conscious of why. I think sometimes people just jump into a shoot and they just go, help me, Adam, help me, choose what to do. Like, and I understand that as well if you haven't had much experience, but I think the best thing is to look at people you look up to or people that inspire you or maybe people that you want to have the same career as and look on their Instagram page or, you know, go on their agency page and have a look what kind of shots they have that you like. And then that can give you a good reference on sort of what you want in your own portfolio. But, you know, in general, you need like, for dance specifically, you need like your basic denim look, you need a nice headshot, you need some great editorial shots that show off sort of nice shapes and movements. Also, especially in London, I've noticed the sort of commercial edgy looks really good to have. Sporty look, which we did today as well, for campaigns and things like that. And then, you know, whatever is your thing, or whatever kind of represents you, I think is also another really good thing to have.
I think it's always important to try and I think that's where the denim look worked really well because it's like simple denim look, but then a bit of your personality thrown in there. It's like that little twist. It just kind of takes it, instead of just being like super the same every time, it's just, there's a little like adjustment to it to just make it you. So that's a really nice way to bring it. Yeah, you want to
stand out as well.
Yeah.
For how many agents see the same photos with the same denim look, but that one little thing might change their perception 100%. On it.
So coming off the cruise ship then, landing back in Australia. What does life look like then, like trying to get jobs and stuff? Yeah,
so now I'm 19, you know, still quite young, having done 2 cruise ships back to back, which were great. And then, like I said, I went straight into training mode. Like I just wanted to make that my life. I was supposed to start university. I took a gap year. I was going to go into linguistics and international relations, and I never went.
Well, you went international, so I suppose that's
I did go international. It was always a goal of mine to actually move to London, but so out of that, I trained for about 6 months, really, really hard, and you know, I'm from Melbourne, so it's people know Australia. I think here more is Sydney, and you see more of the Sydney dancers sort of go big, especially online. But there's some incredible Melbourne talent like that people don't know about because I think the focus isn't so much on like videography, especially at the time when I was growing up. But I did some amazing training and, you know, I was thinking you probably have heard of Brent Street. So I remember thinking about going to Brent Street, but then I was like, no. And then funny enough, like full circle moment, I ended up teaching at Brent Street even though I never went. But this is what I mean. Like you can do anything you put your mind to if you just work hard at it. So did that. And I found that I like naturally became quite comfortable with like the jazz and the commercial styles and the sort of heels movements. Like they kind of came really comfortable to me. And then, so I actually auditioned for Dancing with the Stars because there was a big sort of open call that was happening. And at the same time, I was also working with, I doubt you would know who it is, but her name is Yvette Lee. She's like a big choreographer in Australia. And she runs a lot of the sort of big shows that happen there. So like at the Crown Casino, so there's like big performances. So I sort of was introduced to her, then we started working together. I started doing more commercial sort of gigs. I got more into gigs at first. And that was really good experience as well. And then, this audition for Dancing with the Stars came up and I did it. I want to say I was turning 20 at this point. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. They asked me to talk to the camera and look at the barrel for 30 minutes, and I don't know how to do that.
So how did you approach that? Because I feel like that's something that a lot of people struggle with.
Yes.
And especially if you're in a situation where you're like, I know on the other side of this is the job that I really want. What was kind of going through your mind at that time?
Yeah, I still have that. It's really interesting. It's like when you want something so bad, it almost never comes true because you want it so much. You kind of have to release the pressure of getting the job and more think about why you want it rather than I need it, I want it. So for me, like, I was really excited about the opportunity of doing it, but I kind of just thought, look, if it's meant for me, then it will happen. You know, and I had no pressure or expectation of getting the job, which is, I think, why I got it in the end. And anyway, we literally auditioned. I did multiple rounds. It was like quite an intense audition process because obviously you're going to be on television. And then I remember I got the call randomly, like I was walking back from, decided to do acting course. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea.
It's just another skill, isn't it?
Just another thing, you know, it's good to have. Maybe I was trying to like manifest that I was going to be on camera, but anyway, and then I was on the phone to the producers and like, we've got the job. I was like, oh my God, it was so exciting. And then, from then on, like I did 5 seasons of Dancing with Stars in Australia, and it was like crazy, like just the most amazing experience, but also really challenging.
So moving on to the second look from today, what was that and what made you bring that?
Yes, that's a good segue because the second look was our red Latin bodysuit and I loved it. That was really me, like sort of animalistic.
I feel like, you were like, I really want to be like that kind of animal firiness and this. And I feel like you nailed that.
Oh, but you gave me some fab moves as well. Like that was great. And like it was nice, really nice collaborative as well. Like,
These are insane. Oh my God, that is amazing.
Love. That is cool.
So many great shows.
Yes.
And what was it that made you want to do a Latin?
Well, like I said, I'm obviously like specialised in that style, but I don't really have any photos of me. So I teach like class in London, you know, and I just use like shots of me, just basic shots of me. But I want that shot that I can have, especially because I've loved, we'll get to that later, but like I teach sort of like a Latin fusion, which is more like a commercial look into my background. And it kind of allows the commercial dancers to feel comfortable to try a new style, we were talking about earlier. But I wanted like something like just a good photo to have for those promos.
I think that goes back to what you were talking about before about having a why for the photos.
Yes.
And it's like understanding, okay, well, what am I going to use these pictures for?
Absolutely.
And like as we were talking kind of when we were doing that look, you were saying that your photos you have are a bit more heelsy, whereas if someone's coming to a class, I feel like it needs to represent what the class is going to be like.
100%.
So it's kind of always worth thinking about that.
And people resonate with pictures so much more than even words. They won't read, they'll look at the photo and be like, oh. So
because it's like, if people are just scrolling, it's like what's going to catch your attention, and it's like it's always going to be the image, and the image is going to draw them in, and then they're going to read. If the image doesn't feel relevant, they'll scroll on and miss the text.
100%. And that's why I think photography and what you're doing is so important, because it's just it's like a segue into your world and into what you want to sell, even like what you're, you know, because as dancers we're basically our own product, so you have to have good selling points to make sure you book the job or you sell out the class or, you know, whatever you're doing.
Like I always refer to it as being like a shop window where it's like the inside of a shop could be the best shop in the whole world, but if the outside of it is all shabby and kind of falling down, you're not going to go in.
So true. That's actually so true. And I think like with age and time, your taste sort of develops, and you know, I look back at my shots from like that time when I was 20 and I'm like, oh girl, but it's part of the process, you know, when your image changes, your taste changes, so that's important.
So season 1 of Dancing with the Stars, how does that feel entering that process?
It felt very daunting because I, again, had never worked in front of a camera. I'd never worked with someone who's never danced before and having to teach them from scratch. I was saying to you earlier, it's like you're doing that show, you kind of work as a teacher, a choreographer, a psychologist, a friend, like you sort of have to tick all the boxes. And because people don't know this, a lot of people don't know that we're actually choreographing all of the dancers.
And you had much choreographing experience before that?
None at all. Like I'd never done it at that point, but I was just thrown into it, and they said, here's your first dance. And then they also made me do contemporary at one point and jazz. And I was like, okay, thank God I did my classes. Versatility. But it's scary because you just don't know. But also it was so exciting. And I think actually my first season was the most fun one because I had no pressure and expectation. And I did realize like I have a natural sort of ability to choreograph and hear music, and I really enjoy it, especially like partnering and like bigger picture choreography pieces. But then in the consecutive seasons, then I had that pressure because also like I got good feedback on the performances that I did, and so then you get in your head, okay, like this has to be better than last time.
Yeah, you set a bar, you don't want to drop below that.
Exactly.
I suppose it's been your whole career up until that point of just rise and rise and rise.
Yes. But no, it was an incredible experience. But they kind of all meshed into one because I did like 5 in a row in Australia. So, and I moved,
And was that yearly? Like
yes.
Yeah.
So it was yearly, and it was about 2-3 months of my year. So it was quite nice to always know you had that consecutively coming in.
So like obviously like you'd not choreographed before. What would be your advice to someone who is currently dancing, who hasn't choreographed something and they're looking to do something that's kind of like their own thing?
Just do it. Like, I think people are scared to try. What is the worst that can happen if you try?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think you will not know if you're going to be good at something unless you give it a go. If in your heart you think, oh, I would love to create, or I'd love to choreograph, or I'd love to create to this piece of music, if something inspires you, like I always love getting inspiration from other things outside of dance. I don't know, books, museums, anything. Even walking down the street, I see a nice tree, I'm like, wow, like that inspires me to create.
Yeah, I feel like there's a really interesting kind of mindset shift when you become someone who has to create regularly. You start to find things in real life that you never would have seen before.
Absolutely.
Because you just live in this mode of I'm just always looking for inspiration, and you can just, it's mad. As soon as it becomes consistent, I feel like if you just wait and like create something once inspiration hits, you'll be waiting months between stuff. But as soon as you have to be consistent, your brain goes into overdrive of just like, I need to find inspiration. And it just...
And it's, but I mean, creation is limitless. Creativity is limitless. But when it becomes this sort of hamster wheel where you have to push out content constantly, it can become, it makes you feel boxed in because you're creating because you have to, not because you want to sometimes. So I think, definitely though, if you want to create and it's something you think you could be good at, give it a go.
And I think as well with anything creative, your first thing is never going to be as good as you want it to be.
Oh yes.
And like, because you're going to be comparing yourself to all the people you look up to choreography wise, and you're like, your first piece is never going to be as good as someone who's been doing it for years and years and years.
100%. 100%. Yeah. I mean, I think also trusting that it will get better and trusting that you're going to you have to start somewhere. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to be a professional straight away.
Yeah.
And just giving it a go and trusting yourself is the best thing that you can do before getting to a place where you're really proud of your work.
Yeah. And also remembering that everyone who's ahead of you at some point sucked.
Yes.
Like at some point they put out bad things.
Absolutely. And it's so true.
So going on to the third look from today, what was that and what made you bring that?
So the third look was the sporty girl, little black headband, just plain black look. It wasn't the most exciting one, but it was a very necessary one.
100%.
That I needed.
And that is so important sometimes. It's not always, everything's not going to be exciting. And I think that's just career and life in general. It
is really important to have looks that are really necessary for booking jobs. So like I didn't really have any good sporty looks, and an agency asked me the other day, like, can you send us some looks of you like in sportswear? And I was like, oh, I don't actually have any. So thank you for that one.
And on the topic there of agencies, what's your advice about getting an agent and working with an agent?
Yeah, I mean, I think London is definitely very saturated with agencies. There's so many. When I was living in Australia, it was much more straightforward. You had your sort of 2 main agencies that you can go to. But I've always found if you have a good social media presence and they can see you on there, and also following up on, if you have a specific agent you really want, you need to try all avenues, because they get so many applications and they get bombarded. I mean, I've heard of people in London actually going and showing up to the agency and knocking on the door to get in. So maybe that works, but I know it's hard. It's definitely hard, especially if, I moved here 2 years ago, and only sort of in the last 6 months to a year have I, like, after a year of living here, did I start to get agents. And I had a really good portfolio of work behind me. So it's definitely tricky, but you have to have, again, good quality footage of you dancing, showing off all of your skills, great shots of you, make sure that you have a good resume. Of course, if you haven't had much experience, still, like, write anything that you can think of that would be helpful. And contact them on Instagram, email them, call them. But yeah, it definitely, you can get any agent you want. You just have to be persistent or email again. Like, I think I hear a lot of people that just email once and that's it. It's never going to work.
Yeah, I feel like the most important thing you can get is a no.
Yes.
Like, keep going until someone says no.
100%.
Because it's like, the worst thing is someone's emailed and then just think that they've done it.
Yeah.
But you don't know who's on the other end of that. They might be like, I'm super busy when that email comes through.
Yeah.
Or actually, I've had 400 today.
Yeah.
So I don't have time to go through all of them.
You got no response, so you're like, okay.
Yeah. Get the no. The no's more
important. The no's are more important than the yeses, because also they make you grow.
100%. So you've just finished season 5 of Dancing with Stars.
Yes.
What's kind of next from there?
Yeah, so in between also all of those seasons of dancing, I ended up doing quite a lot of, like, touring shows around Australia. And
what kind of shows were they? So
they were, one of them was randomly an Irish dancing show. And I was
Had you ever Irish danced before?
Never ever before, but it was, they had featured commercial dancers, commercial jazz dancers. Okay. And so we were, like, intertwined in doing that as well. But that was really a fun experience. I also worked with a few artists back in Melbourne. Which was amazing, got to dance for Robbie Williams, which was a really amazing, huge experience. Sort of like, that's probably the biggest buzz of your life, like dancing in front of like 50,000 people is just amazing. And being one of the 4 dancers on stage behind an artist as big as that is, you will never take that for granted, And I also did the AFL Grand Final, which is like a huge 100,000 people in an arena, and you got like 50 dancers on the stadium, and that's really amazing.
And how do those moments feel, like when you're on stage with that amount of people watching you?
You feel invincible. It's like a drug, and I think that's why dancers are constantly searching for it. I think it's very interesting because obviously you want to, we spoke about this earlier too, you want to enjoy your life outside of being a dancer too, and just have other interests, which is then going to help with your career as well. But I can understand why people are so obsessed with it. Like, I'm obsessed with my job because the feeling that you get when you book the job, when you get to dance in front of that many people, it's just like a drug. It's incredible. You get addicted to it. It just feels so... You black out. Like, I black out when I perform because it's just the most magical feeling. Like, yeah. And
like, obviously, like every drug, there's a come down.
Yes.
When you come off the stage and you're back to normal life again.
Yeah.
How do you kind of cope with the balance there?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. I have been very lucky though that I've never needed a muggle job since I booked my first Dancing with the Stars. So I know a lot of people aren't that fortunate, and most dancers will always have to go and, you know, teach somewhere or do something. Actually, I lie, other than COVID, I worked at Barry's.
Okay.
So I did one normal person job for 2 months. But that was like, yeah, that was very humbling because you realize, okay, you know, like I'm very grateful to be doing what I do, and I don't want to take that for granted ever. But then, like, I really love teaching, especially professionals. So for me, that's what I would do outside of when I do big jobs, I love to teach and choreograph. So that's kind of where I like to sit and continue to create as well.
And getting into teaching as well, what was it that kind of first got you into that, like teaching groups?
Yeah. I think I saw there was a huge gap in Melbourne, especially where I'm from, of good teachers. And I wasn't inspired to take class from anybody really. So I ended up teaching like a jazz and a heels and a Latin and all the different styles that I really enjoyed doing and creating. And then, you know, from that, you start to build momentum and people start to come to your classes and more people come, and it's very gratifying, especially. But I also really knew that I wanted to do. So when I moved to London, which we haven't even gotten to yet, but yeah, when I moved to London, like I realized there was not a lot of people at all, that anyone that did like a Latin fusion class or anything like that. So it's very saturated. Like the styles that I would want to teach other than what I do now, Latin fusion would be like a heels or a jazz, but that already exists and so many people teach that. So I was thinking, what can I bring that's different? And so, and I really just enjoy teaching big groups because there's no better feeling than seeing somebody else do your work and doing it to their best ability and giving it their all, and you can see their passion and their eyes light up when you perform and when you demonstrate it for them, and it's just such a good feeling in the room. Obviously
we kind of hit London now.
Yes.
So where do we go from kind of season 5 of Thingy to London, where we are now? So I got a audition for, so obviously Strictly is a big thing here. So one of the dancers on Strictly, his name's Giovanni. He's now actually doesn't do it anymore, but at the time, 2 years ago, he was still a pro. And I saw a random audition pop up on Instagram for his tour, and it was like a 6-month tour around the UK. And I was like, okay, how do I because I've always wanted to get to the UK, but I was like, how do I get in? I emailed and they said, oh, sorry, we're not taking any international auditions. Like you have to come to London to audition. And I refused to accept that. It's like, no, I will make this work. So then I kept emailing, again, persistency. I kept emailing, and then I got a response randomly one day, and the producer was like, actually, we'll do an online audition, a Zoom audition with you. Why not? And then I did the Zoom audition, and then literally like 2 hours later, you got the job. Great. Pack my bags. I love
fly to London.
The amount of people who might have probably been in exactly the same situation but didn't send that second email.
Yeah.
Oh, that's mad.
This is why I think this is one thing I think that I have over some other dancers, maybe that I know I lack in so many other things, you know, but you're always seeing the worst in yourself. But I think one thing that I can definitely say confidently I have is like grit and persistency. And that's what's helped me be constantly employed. Like I haven't stopped working since I was 20, so it's very lucky.
Where do you think that grit and consistency came from? And do you think it's something you can develop?
I think it's something that you definitely can develop, but you also have to have the right mindset for it. You're not just, you know, of course, naturally, we're all lazy. Like everybody wants to just lay at home.
Everyone wants to be comfortable.
That is a very good point. Comfort is not going to get you any success. Do you know what I mean? And
but we used to say growth and comfort can't coexist.
No. That is actually the biggest advice, and I have to always tell myself, put yourself in positions that are really uncomfortable for you. Go to that class that you think is going to be so difficult and challenging and you're going to struggle, but do it. Or, I don't know, go to that audition that you think you're not going to get the job because it's going to help you grow. But I think that's really important, that like persistency, that because then what else is that? What's the point of being an average performer? Like you want to be the best that you can be, you know, and it's not for everyone. Like not everyone's going to thrive in this crazy industry. It's definitely challenging. And there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of lows in it as well. But I tell you, you can do anything. Like one of my highlights was when I first started sort of going back into my heels and like commercial training, I was obsessed with Malou Linda's.
Yeah.
Obsessed. Like her style, like that's my kind of favorite way to dance.
Same.
Clean lines, sharp, boom, boom, boom. Loved it. And I would ridiculously watch her over and over. And I literally was manifesting dancing for her one day. And then over COVID, I would literally just watch her videos and practice and dance in my room, like just for fun. Anyway, fast forward, literally 2 days ago, she dropped the video that I was like a main feature in. And that's just crazy.
So sick.
You know, and it's like one of her big new concept videos that I got to be a part of in November. And
I feel like they have become such like an iconic part of the industry.
Massive. Everyone knows her name. She's my biggest, if I think of like my dance sort of idols or like mentors, like she would be my biggest mentor. Because also I've developed a good relationship with her. Like we've worked together. I used to take her intensives, and then from that we sort of became a bit more close, and then she would invite me to her sessions. And obviously she lives in Amsterdam, so it's a bit more difficult. But yeah, she's very amazing at nurturing your talents.
And so what is your advice to someone who looks up to someone like that and wants to be someone that's included in the things that they create?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask. Yeah. Because you never know. Like, I think show up, first of all. It's important to show up to whatever it is that they do or they create. If there's someone that you're really inspired by and you want to work with, go to their classes, go to their intensives. If they're doing like little pop-ups, like go and be there. Just be in their face, because then they recognize you. And the more they see your face, the more they will trust you. And obviously, like if you then also have a good understanding of their way of moving or whatever it is that they're doing, and if they resonate with you, then I feel like after that, it kind of just organically flows.
I suppose it's like building a relationship where if you meet someone and you feel like, oh, but we've got a connection here. There seems to be, we're on the same page with stuff.
Absolutely.
Then that's so much more likely to become a relationship rather than something that feels forced, 100%. Where it's like, oh, we're not really similar, but I want that.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Like I think everything in this industry is about relationships. It's all about who you know, not necessarily always what you know.
Yeah. Like
you get to a point of dancing where, like, of course, like we said, you can always get better, but sort of people that work are generally at a similar level of ability.
You've hit the level, and it's like also you could go higher, but you're at a level that's good enough.
If you're at a point where you're working and you're doing jobs, like you're good at what you do, of course, because it's your full-time job, but then it's about the connections and how you are on the job that's going to get you the next one.
100%.
Or even in a room, in a classroom, even if you're a student.
And going back to that concept video, what did the process of building something like that contain?
Oh.
Because it's big.
It was, it was incredible. Like, it was just the biggest dream to be a part of something like that, and seeing how she works and how her mind works, it was just unreal. Like, she had done a sort of intensive before that where there was 3 weeks of prep. But like some people were invited to that and some people sort of came as students, and it was just like the most incredible group of dancers that were all thriving and like trying to work together to create this final masterpiece. But she has such a specific vision. She knows exactly what she wants. And she drills the dancers. Like, I mean, from the concept videos you've seen, like everyone is the same. And I know why, because now that I've been a part of it, I'm like, we went over the same 8 counts probably for 4 hours. Like 1 8 count. Just to clean it. Just to clean 1 8 count. It was wild. But that's why she's as good as she is, because she's a huge perfectionist, you know, and like us, never fully happy with her work. So I don't want to speak for her, but like I say, she's a huge mentor for me. So there's always growth, but watching and being there in a room when it was being filmed was just like, I had goosebumps the whole day just watching it happen. Because you'll never feel that kind of energy unless you're in there, you know. I can't even explain how it was. It was just magic.
So moving on to the fourth and final look for today, what was that and what made you bring that?
So the fourth and final look we had was probably my favorite. I don't know.
It was so good. I loved it.
Came together like so well. What would you call it? It was like a black bodycon dress.
It was very like sleek, but kind of, it's like sleek elegance, but kind of like had that kind of
edge
to it.
Yeah.
I feel like the kind of see-throughness of it kind of elevated it.
Yeah.
The wet hair was just like...
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I was asking you about do I do a hair slick back? You're like, wet hair.
Yeah, like as soon as... I think that's always like... Because sometimes you have a vision for something, but then sometimes as soon as you see it on in the space, it's just like... I feel like you were like, oh, should I do...
100%.
Hair, but I was like, definitely that, definitely that.
I mean, like I said, I came knowing what I wanted, but I was very open to your opinion because I know that you're so good at what you do here. So I always take on, that's actually another great advice, like always take on people's opinions that you look up to.
The wet hair really was the right choice.
So fun.
That lighting is epic. Sorry, I keep grabbing you. Wow. Sorry. Oh my god. These are amazing. Wow. Oh. Yeah, the wet hair. Oh wow. They're so cool. Oh wow. Oh wow. Yeah. Thank you so much. Wow. We did it. You did it. You're incredible.
That's so good. And I think that goes both ways as well, because it's like just people's opinions, obviously, there's the negative side of things where if you've posted something and someone who you don't respect comments on that negatively, or even if they say something good and you don't respect them, but like they're not someone you look up to.
Yeah.
You kind of just don't ignore it all.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's only the people above you that actually matters.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's important. This is where it's hard because you don't want to take on too many opinions. Because then your mind begets, you're going to get a yes and a no and this.
There's no right answer if you go that way.
There's no right answer. That's why I think you should go to the people that you look up to or that you are inspired by if you're going to get advice. But otherwise, just stick to your guns as well. I think sometimes being cluttered by too much outside
yourself.
Noise. Yeah, you know what you want. But I think like with you or with like someone, like I'll go to like my mentor or someone that I really look up to for advice. And I've needed advice a few times in my life, like, what do I do with this? Or like...
And what's your advice to someone looking for a mentor or looking for some advice?
I think it's really important to have a mentor or somebody that you feel really comfortable with asking questions, because in my experience, like I've had to make some decisions on jobs that would have changed my trajectory in my life quite a lot. And I was just lucky to have people that I could go to that have been there before me, that are older, that have the knowledge that I didn't have at the time and still don't,
got
still
like
learning.
Wisdom.
How do you get them? I mean, I guess it's one of those like figure out who inspires you creatively or figure out who you look up to, and then again find a way to connect with them, email them, just go to their class, talk to them, like start a conversation. That's the best thing you can do, is just don't be afraid to speak. Don't be that mute student at the back of the class, because they will never notice you. Go to the front. What is the worst that can happen? And that's something I had to learn moving to London, because being in Melbourne and even in Sydney, like most people know who you are at this point in such a small like group of dancers. And then moving to London after doing like 6 months of touring and then wanting to stay in London and continue to develop as an artist here, nobody knows you. So you have to push yourself. You have to go to the front. You have to just not be afraid, because otherwise, like I think this is one thing that I've noticed why a lot of Aussie and like Kiwi and like international dancers are quite doing well here. I think it's because we have something to lose. Like we have spent so much time and money and effort to come here and be here that there's no option for failure almost. And that's why all of these dancers are just giving it 100%. And then like I've taught a few college students as well, and now that I've been here a little bit, like I just see like they sit comfortably, and it goes back again to what we were talking about with comfort, but yeah, just push yourself. But I know it's scary. I understand that too.
Yeah, I remember like when like I first started my first business, and like someone said to us, "You're not hungry enough."
I love that.
I feel like that just changed everything. Of like, we just always stay hungry, and it's there's always something to strive for. There's always to keep going. As soon as you sit back, like satiated, it's like, things just don't progress.
And there's just too many. Again, we're talking about dance right now. There's too many dancers, not enough jobs. So how are you going to stand out? Like, what about you is special? And it is a really tough business. Like, no one cares about you. And like we were talking about this before, how you think the relevance is going to disappear if you leave for 3 to 6 months. And maybe, because you need to just keep putting yourself out there. You need to force yourself into people's faces. And that is the best way. I mean, I just think, and it takes time. Like, it doesn't just happen overnight.
Yeah.
But I also think that's quite rewarding, because now you're like, especially Grace and I are both seeing like this year's like, things are happening now, which is so exciting. Because it's definitely hard work, but it's so rewarding.
So what does the future look like for you?
Oh, okay.
And we can manifest something.
We can manifest. Well, I think, like I said before, like I would love to do more versatile jobs as well. Like I also went and did a Bridgerton job, which was really cool. So I did like this immersive experience, and I was Daphne, which was really fun. And I've worked at like a few cabaret shows here in London, and I then went and did the Dancing with the Stars in Ireland. So, but my big goal would be to get on Strictly, and that's like big manifestation. Would be amazing because it's such a big institution over here.
Yeah, 100%.
I would also absolutely love to work for more artists. Like that is something that I've really loved, and when I get that feeling and that buzz on a stage, like I'd love to do an award show, but also a massive thing I'd love to do is a movie while I'm here. Because in Australia we don't really shoots movies.
Here,
a lot of shot here. So and a few of my friends and people I know have worked on movies, but I think I moved just at the time where all of the movies had finished. It was like all your Wickeds and all your Barbies and all the Willy Wonkas, like that all just finished. I was like, damn it.
There will be more for sure.
Yeah, that would be really, really cool. But just continuing to create as well. I just love it, and like develop my sort of style here and like get a little bit more known in that sense, and for people not to be scared to take my class because it seems out of their comfort zone.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for this. This has been really fun.
Thank you. I've absolutely loved today. You're amazing.
Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, please share it. If you want to see more of these, click subscribe. And if you've got any questions or anything you want to ask, just drop them in the comments below. See you in the next session.